Hey, Casey Rae here, and man, oh man, do I have an update for you. To recap, let's just go back to last week's video. So I'm excited, I'm nervous, I really don't know how to feel. So for Christmas, I got a Ancestry DNA kit. The results are finally in. Before I share those results with you guys, I did want to kind of give you a little bit of background. I really want to tell this with the most sensitivity that I can possibly muster up, because it is a sensitive subject in my family. My grandmother is full-blooded Thai, and she met my dad's father while he was fighting in the Vietnam War. That's what I believed my whole life. Well, a couple of years back, he actually found out that the man who raised him was not in fact his real father. There has been talk that my dad's real father was another man, and he was from New York, 23% European Jewish. That's my highest percent. Oh my God.
You Jewish.
Maybe my dad's dad was Jewish, the one from New York.
Pretty racist, but yeah. Trying to say all Jews live in Miami and New York.
I don't mean it racist. So during all that excitement, I did not notice that I had over 900 fourth cousins or closer. And out of those 900 and some odd relatives, 2 of them matched for second cousins. So I sent both second cousins a message that said something along the lines of, "Hey cousin, this is crazy. I would love to connect with you and find out more. Let me know if you'd be interested." Lo and behold, I had a Facebook comment on the video that I shared of my DNA results. So I click on this person and boom, it says she's from New York. So I send her this message. "Hey, so I could be wrong, but there are rumors that my dad's bio father was from New York. My dad doesn't know who his real father is, but if the rumors are true, then his father would have met my grandmother in Thailand when he fought in the Vietnam War. Does any of this ring a bell? Do you have any male relatives, maybe an uncle who was in the service over there? It would mean a lot to me and my dad to find out more about his father. Oh, and my grandmother says she thinks she remembers the name Philip, but that could be a first or last name. Thank you so much for your help." I must have seemed like a crazy person, because I guarantee you I messaged her no less than 5 times within a 24-hour period. And then the next day, she finally gets back to me and she sends me this. "I had a cousin named Philip Barnoff who was in the service and probably was in Vietnam around the time of war. He has unfortunately passed. He was my father's sister, Norma's son. Does that help in any way?" I finally have a name. So I take to Google and I find this. Now I noticed that at the bottom it says Texas. And something that I didn't mention in the last video, I didn't think it was really pertinent to the story, but I see that it is now, is the fact that my dad got a mysterious phone call back around 2007-ish. And the phone call stated that the man who raised my father was not in fact his real dad, that his real dad had just passed away, and that he had left him some property in Texas. Now at the time, my dad just brushed it off as, you know, a mistake, that it wasn't him. Of course, that wasn't true. He knew who his dad was. They didn't pay it any attention. Now after the truth came out, of course they thought back to that day, but they couldn't really put the pieces together because of course they didn't save the phone number, etc. But there was one thing about this whole thing that didn't add up, and that is the fact that they received that phone call in early 2000s. And this man passed away in 2013. Now, if anything, you could chalk it up to divine intervention, and it was God's way of opening our eyes and at least getting us asking questions. So being that the obituary did say 2013, I was like, maybe that's not him, maybe this is a different person, maybe it's just a coincidence. So I went back to Google and I found a Facebook page. Now the Facebook page was really empty. It didn't have much to it at all, but it did have this at the bottom. It says he went to school in New York. This whole time, me and my stepmom are on the phone as we're doing this detective work, and she actually clicks on one of his friends. And I hear her on the phone say, oh my God, that's him. It's the same photo that was on the obituary of the man from Texas. So of course we start scrolling through all of her other photos and we see this photo. And Pam says, oh my God, that's your daddy's hands. And I was like, yes, nobody else has those nubby fingers but my dad. So I send this lady a message. Hey, I know this is gonna sound crazy, but I think this man might be my grandfather. Do you have any information on this? And immediately she responds with, I may. Call me. So I'm on the phone with Pam and I'm like, oh my God, she wants me to call her. Let me get off the phone with you. I'll call you right back. So I call her and I'm like, hi. And she's like, hi. What makes you think that this is true? You could tell that she was kind of skeptical. So I start telling her the story. As I'm telling her the story, you can hear the smile start to form in her voice. And all she's saying is, uh-huh, uh-huh. But I can tell just by that response that this is legit and she knows, and we're about to find everything out. And when I finish telling her everything that I know, she says, Phil did mention that he had a son in Thailand, and he tried to get his son and the son's mother back to the States, and he did everything he could. His mother, his very Jewish mother, wouldn't support him financially in the great expense of having them transported over. And during all this, my grandmother just said, you know what, it's fine. I'm just gonna be with your friend instead, and he's gonna raise my son. Don't call me, don't contact us, just forget we exist. She says that he always wondered about my dad and hoped that he was okay. She said he was hysterical and sweet and loved by everyone. She said he never married and he never had any more kids, and she took care of him until his last days when he died of cancer. She says she still has a big box of his things, and we are welcome to come to Texas and look at them anytime we want to. This whole thing has been really surreal. Of course, I'm really happy to know the truth, to know where I come from, to know what my last name would have been. It was a huge victory. That's something I never thought I would ever get the answers to, but I wasn't prepared for the heartbreak. Number one, the fact that he essentially died alone, without his family there, without us there. And he never knew. He never knew anything about us. He never knew he had a son and 2 grandkids and a great-grandson. Also, the fact that my dad's childhood probably would have looked a lot different and considerably better. And the fact that the man who did raise my dad, that I've only seen him once in my life, he could have stepped aside for the man who was hysterical and sweet and loved by everyone. It's all been really bittersweet. Of course, I wasn't prepared mentally or emotionally for all of this. I can only imagine what this is doing to my dad. Of course, he'll never admit it, but I'm sure it's really painful, because if it's this painful for me, I feel for him. It's gonna take time to mourn the loss, to mourn the what ifs. I know it's pointless to think about that, but I am only human, and your mind, it goes there. I'm really excited to potentially hear more stories about him and to learn more about my Jewish heritage that I never knew was there. It's definitely going to take time to heal, but I am really glad that I went through this process. If anybody has questions about their heritage or about their family, I highly suggest getting the Ancestry DNA test done. Within a matter of 48 hours, all of my questions were answered. So I thank you so much for listening to my story. This is a positive thing. I am really happy to have found this out, to have went through this. It's obviously just going to take some time to regroup and to heal and to process all of this. But I am really thankful to know. So thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you'll stick around and subscribe and check out some of my other content. It's definitely not related to this at all. It's way different. I talk a lot about living intentionally. So if that seems interesting to you, be sure and hit that subscribe button. Thank you so much for watching, guys. You're my favorites. Peace and love.